The episode begins with Rentt and co walking into the boss room. As they get further in, it's revealed that the boss is a grand slime. Ryze tells the group that they won't mess up like the previous group did. However, Rentt laments that this isn't going how he wanted. He was hoping the other examinees would beat it for them since there's no actual need to beat the boss in order to pass the exam. But he justifies it by saying it's good to encounter some challenges in life. Ryze pushes forward towards the slime. As he does, Rentt tells him to aim for its core. However, the slime pushes Ryze off. As he recovers and continues to dodge, Laura focuses on empowering her magic. Rentt thinks to himself that the two are capable of defeating the Grand Slime. We then get a flashback to right before they entered the room with Rentt telling them that magic is what they'll need to win. Laura brings up that it will take some time before she's able to cast her spell. Rentt tells her not to worry, he'll cover her, but Ryze asks if he can be the one to do that. It then cuts back to Ryze buying time for Laura. Ryze is about to get hit by an attack, but Rentt blocks it and continues rushing forward. Laura is now done charging, so she uses Grand Priox, which summons a huge fireball that finishes off the slime. As Laura and Ryze are celebrating, Rentt pulls some vials out of his bag, saying that slime fluids are worth a lot. Even if they split the money evenly, they'll get at least 1 silver each. While the group is gathering the fluid, another trio rushes past them, but Laura tells them it's fine. We see that the group that ran past them are taken out by a sleeping gas trap. Rentt is not surprised, saying right before the goal is one of the places people let their guard down most. Not that it really matters if they get ahead of them anyway, because getting there first doesn't mean passing. Laura thinks back to what the guild told them right before they started the exam. The guild told them that their job is to reach the point written on their maps. The only advantage to finishing first is that they will receive a reward befitting their efforts. The guild just set it up so they think it's a race. Rentt tells them an adventurer's only job is to complete the task before the deadline. Ryze brings up that it would have been nice if the guild would have told them that in the first place, but Rentt tells him you can't be a real adventurer unless you can think for yourself. They enter another room, with someone congratulating them on arriving first. Ryze and Laura are rightfully suspicious, asking if he's real, and to show proof that he's with the guild. So he shows them a slip of paper, then lays down 3 metal badges, telling them to show these to the guild's front desk, and they'll become bronze class adventurers. As Ryze is inspecting the badge, he asks about the bonus for being the first ones to arrive. This causes the guild employee to lay out some potions and a case for each of them. Before they head out, Rentt asks the other two if they can make a side trip before they go home. We find out that the side trip Rentt was talking about is taking them to the 2nd floor, telling them that the labyrinths are beyond human understanding, and that they'll realize that up ahead. As soon as they enter the 2nd floor, it's completely different from the 1st floor. The 2nd floor is vast and filled with foliage and trees as far as the eye can see. Laura brings up that she heard that each floor was totally different, but not to this degree. Rentt tells them that this is the world they're about to enter. Ryze suggests that they take a little look around, but Rentt tells them that's a bad idea. The exam's not over until they're back. They finally get back to the guild, however their way back was filled with numerous traps. They turn in the badges and the receptionist congratulates them. Now the bronze class exam comes to an end for real this time. Ryze asks if that means they're bronze class adventurers now. She gives an evasive answer, but is interrupted by someone behind her saying that they'll be fine. Ryze is confused by the situation, but Rentt brings up that the guild was watching them the whole time. The guy, who turns out to be Sheila's brother, tells them that the exam also tests what kind of person they are. The guild won't raise their rank if they decide the examinee is not the right person for it. However, they pass without any problems, so they are now officially bronze class adventurers. Before they part ways, Rentt thanks Ryze and Laura for coming with him today. Ryze tells them that's his line. Thanks to him, they think they've become real adventurers. They suggest adventuring together, but they know it's not feasible. Rentt has a specific goal in mind that's different from theirs. That's why he told them all that stuff during the exam, so they could make it on their own. Laura tells him that they may have only been party members for a day, but Rentt will always be a treasured comrade. As the two leave, Sheila remarks that they're good kids. Rentt agrees, though he felt like a parent more than anything. The mood then shifts, with Sheila telling Rentt that she has a question for him and requests that he come with her, bringing up that he's sharp enough to know what she wants to ask him. Rentt realizes that Sheila knows who he really is and asks if the guild intends to punish him for what he's done. Sheila ignores the question. She's the one asking the questions here. Rentt tells her in that case he'll never come back to this guild and goes to leave, but she stops him, telling him that all she wants to know is what exactly happened to him. As they're walking, Rentt thought about running away, but he couldn't, because Sheila's voice was the voice of someone who was genuinely worried about an old friend. Rentt tells Sheila that he's got a big problem he's dealing with right now and doesn't want anyone getting involved, not even the guild. But Sheila brings up that she hasn't told the guild about him yet, partially because she wasn't 100% sure. But more than anything, she wanted to see the truth for herself. She told the man who was watching them during the exam, meaning her brother, a little, but only what was necessary, then asks Rentt to tell her what happened to him. Sheila is not surprised by Rentt's hesitation, so she pulls out a magic contract. If the contract is broken, in this case if she shares his secret, she'll suffer a penalty backed by magical force. That penalty being that she will leave the guild, travel to a country where slavery is legal, and sign away her rights to another party, thus becoming a slave. Rentt notices that Sheila is very serious and asks why she'd be willing to go that far. She tells him that she wants to help him. It's thanks to him that she got to grow up. He may not realize it, but there are a lot of people who are grateful to him. So Rentt agrees to sign it, then tells her what happened. Rentt begins by morphing his mask to reveal his face, saying that he's turned into a monster. Right now, he's an undead. Sheila is shocked, wondering how is that possible. Rentt understands why she'd feel distressed hearing that, and tells her to think about it again before answering his next question. Can she really help him? Rentt gets up to leave, telling her that he has no intention of harming anyone. But that's a different question from whether she can believe him or not. Sheila stops him, saying that she believes him because he was always such a good guy, and promises to help him. Rentt then returns home, accompanied by Sheila. She insisted on coming to speak to Laura, due to her learning a lot about Rentt. Laura says fine, but her house isn't very clean at the moment. Laura starts the conversation by asking how much does she know. Sheila repeats that she learned about Rentt, that being that he's a monster, and that he's not going to attack anyone. Laura then calls her naive. Rentt is an undead, and she's a sketchy-looking academic. What does she think happens to a young girl who wanders into the home of a witch and a monster? Normally, you could expect to be thrown into a boiling pot and end up in her stomach. Sheila just laughs. Everyone knows that she's a wonderful researcher. Laura tells her she's wrong. Actually, her hobby is going out at night to hunt the blood of young maidens. That is what Rentt has become. Rentt brings up that Laura doesn't see Sheila as a person, even as she's sitting right in front of her. Depending on Sheila's answer, Laura will eliminate her without hesitation. Sheila gives her answer, saying she knows that. Laura tells her good. She's not saying that to be mean, and suggests that they have dinner together. As they finish eating, Laura reaches for a bottle and pours out a drop of blood for Rentt to eat, since ghasts are a type of low-ranking vampire. Laura asks about the details of their magical contract. Rentt brings up that Sheila won't share who he is. Sheila confirms that, but says that Rentt has been standing out too much lately. There are a lot of rookie adventurers going missing right now, all over the kingdom. The guild is assuming it's a series of kidnappings. Laura connects the dots. The guild is currently suspecting Rentt because he looks extremely suspicious and is also highly skilled. Sheila adds on, saying that he's certainly not acting like a rookie. Some are spreading rumors about him out of jealousy. Rentt tells him if it's that bad, he can stop going to the labyrinth for a while, that being 3 days or so. But Laura is not too happy about his answer, so Rentt changes it to 4. After that, we see Laura and Ryze putting up a request for party members so they can go exploring the second floor. The guildmaster starts up a conversation with Sheila about how he heard Rentt VVA pass his exam. She reports that his skills and personality were just fine. The guildmaster segues the conversation, saying, "Speaking of Rentt, what happened to Rentt Faina? He was planning on recruiting him to the guild once he retired." This causes Sheila to get uncomfortable, since the conversation is relating to the secret that Sheila is trying to keep. However, she's saved when the conversation is stopped by the guildmaster pointing out some new kids that are in trouble. As Sheila is walking down the stairs, she stops and tells the guildmaster that the other Rentt is a wonderful adventurer as well. Then the episode ends. Some personal thoughts. I thought this was a really solid episode. Sheila gave hint that Rentt helped her out and a bunch of other kids, which aligns with his character currently since he coached that blonde hair girl before and got Ryze and Laura through the exam by showing what they're doing right and wrong and just giving hints in general. He's really patient and he acts as a real guide for them and shows them the ropes to being true adventurers. I imagine that's going to keep up probably with other party members or people he finds in the dungeon, because he's already done it 3 times so far. But now that Sheila knows his secret, and a couple others are starting to suspect what's really going on, it'll be interesting to see how they're going to take that plot point. But I imagine Sheila and Laura are going to help him with that, obviously. I do wonder how long he's going to stay in his current form, probably until near the end of the season, where maybe he'll turn into a more human-like thing. But I don't know, we'll just kind of have to see. A solid episode. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. If you have any thoughts or suggestions on what I should cover, or maybe how to change my format, let me know in the comments down below. If you liked what I did and want to see more, a great way to do that is subscribing. Easy to do, and especially since I'm a smaller channel, it helps me out. But that's about it. So yeah,